Imagine this: your most private chats, the secrets, the confessions, the personal details you thought were yours alone, ripped open and torn apart by the government, copied, stored, and potentially exposed to total strangers. This is not an episode of Black Mirror. This is a real proposal currently being rolled out in the EU. And when you combine it with the UK's incoming digital ID system, plus people actually being arrested and jailed over social media posts, we are witnessing the death of individual rights and freedoms. Now, here's the kicker. Most Bitcoiners are making some critical mistakes right now that will leave them vulnerable, not if, but when the state turns its eyes on them. Today, we'll break down this sweeping surveillance program, what it means for you as a Bitcoiner, and exactly what you need to do to protect yourself before it's too late. So, friends, drop a like, strap in. It's going to be an interesting show, to say the least. I'm Ben with the BTC Sessions, and this is your weekly session. All right. I want to welcome to the stage my co-host with the most, Mr. Nathan Fitzsimmons of Bitcoin Mentor. How you doing, man?
Dude, there's no time for all this doom and gloom. You see that we're right again? We're like 4% away, less than 4% away from all-time highs.
That's true. October in full effect. Yeah, I mean, all the more reason to protect your net worth and make sure you escape the surveillance state while you still can. But yes, we're going to chat October in the second segment today. We've got some interesting stuff in and around this crazy October so far and what September indicates for it before, because something unique happened. But let's chat this proposal that we have been seeing from the EU, which is pretty crazy. So this is the document here, and maybe I'll sidle us beside it here. This is the document in and around what is coming to fruition here, or rather what they're going to be voting on pretty quick here. So the vote is going to be held on October 14th. And while I can't really say, because I'll probably get flagged and potentially removed from YouTube again, regulation to prevent and combat child something. You can read it on the screen. Anyways, it's under the guise of protecting our children. And so what is this? So let's take a look. There's an article here that explains it pretty well, talks about how the Netherlands is rejecting this quote unquote chat control proposal, which threatens encryption. So I'm going to read a little bit from this article here. The Dutch government has formally rejected the latest version of the EU's controversial proposal to combat online child abuse, known as the CSAM regulation. In a letter to Parliament, Minister of Justice and Security confirmed that the Netherlands will not support the inclusion of a mandatory scanning measures that threaten secure private digital communication. So this announcement from the Dutch comes a couple weeks before the vote. So it came just the other day. And let's talk about what is involved in this. So under the current proposal, the regulation would allow authorities to issue detection orders requiring service providers to scan private communications, including those protected by end-to-end encryption for both known and previously unseen how to navigate this bad things. Okay, the letter outlines the key change in the proposal compared to earlier drafts, which is the reintroduction of mandatory detection under certain conditions, alongside expanded scope for issuing scanning orders on newly created material. Despite some technical amendments introduced over the summer, the Dutch government maintains that the new version still crosses critical legal and ethical boundaries, placing it outside the country's agreed negotiation framework. Now, the first proposal in 2022, it aims to establish a unified EU legal framework to tackle the spread of exploitive content online. It applies to hosting platforms, messaging services, app stores, mandating risk assessments and mitigation measures, while also enabling authorities to issue detection orders targeting specific services. While the regulation's goals are widely supported, obviously nobody likes exploitation, the technical means proposed, especially mandatory client-side scanning, client-side, we'll talk about what that means beforehand, after this, but have triggered widespread concern among privacy advocates, civil society groups, legal scholars, and cryptographic experts. Now, there is a lot more to this, but I want to kind of talk on the technical side of things based on what we know right now, Nathan. From what you've seen, what would this entail them to be able to do? What would this give them access to? What does this mean as an end user of any sort of private communication? And how would they be able to technically get around this? Because it says including encrypted, end-to-end encrypted messengers.
Yeah, it's got to go one way or the other. So essentially, they're going to be scanning things before sending from the user's standpoint and then relaying that information. So kind of like having a cop watching over your shoulder the entire time. And it's not just text, it's going through text, images, basically everything. I was reading that it hits like Discord and social media apps, as well as end-to-end encrypted communication chats. And so either they're scanning before sending and then relaying that information in some way, or they have to have the service providers put in a backdoor for them to use, which then leaves another vulnerability that I'm sure nobody else will ever find their way to and take advantage of.
Yeah, so I mean, it's either they bork the app itself, they command the person that creates the app or the developers to put in that backdoor, so the application itself is compromised. And I imagine, it's very telling that this is happening now, right as Google announces that only certified developers or only approved developers will be able to add stuff to the App Store, let alone sideload. If you want to add an application on your device, it's going to have to be from an approved developer if you're running an Android phone, which, Apple has that on lock, but Android was the escape hatch before, and now that's going to be locked down too. And I make no mistake about it, this will apply to that. If they try to do a stranglehold on the apps themselves, then yeah, this will fall under that. But the other aspect of it would be targeting the hardware, right? Targeting like a hardware side. Well, you've got to have this on your devices. So, Samsung, Google, Apple, like all of these devices, that's another way to go about it. If you're selling this in the EU, and let's be real, they won't stop at the EU, then that's another way to potentially target users. And I mean, this scares the hell out of me. We're going to talk about potential solutions and ways to get around this momentarily, but this is coming side by side with this new thing in the UK, the digital ID, that is being rolled out right now. So I want to play a clip here. This is actually Joe Rogan talking about digital ID. And what it means. And we'll listen to this, and then we'll hear it from the horse's mouth himself, Keir Starmer. Is that how you say his name? Starmer? I'm not sure.
He doesn't deserve the respect of you trying to get it right, so don't worry about it.
Okay, perfect. Let's move on. Okay, let's take a listen to Joe chatting about the digital ID.
There's a lot of stupidity with our freedom, but that doesn't mean the government should be fucking spying on you. The thing is, in other countries, they just are. Like in China, they just are.
They already have the social point system.
Social credit score.
Yeah, social credit score.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So if you jaywalk and they get a photo of your face, so they have biometrics, they get a photo of your face, they know it's you, your thing gets dinged, now you can't buy a plane ticket.
That's like Black Mirror stuff.
Yep.
Dude.
Yeah,
It's
it's just like
reality.
that. Well, they're passing that in the UK right now. In the UK, you need a digital ID to combat, ready for it, illegal immigration. Well, motherfucker, you let the illegal immigrants in on purpose. Like, you guys knew what you were doing, and now you're using it as a justification for digital ID.
I just watched one this morning, actually, it was a British judge. A guy got sentenced.
I saw that, yeah.
For however many years for a
20 months, social media post.
For a social media post. It was about immigration.
It's getting
complaining
weird,
about immigration.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's wild. It's crazy. And, it's the best way to control people, and keep them at each other's throats. Like, bring in a bunch of people that the people that live there don't want there, and let them duke it out, and then start instituting tighter and tighter restrictions and control.
Now, let's take a look at what Keir Starmer himself said about the digital ID program and how quickly it's going to be rolling out.
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that. And that is why.
So it's coming quick. It's pretty wild. He mentioned also somebody being sentenced. We're going to show something about that momentarily. There's a video on it. But this isn't the only draconian crap that's happening in the UK and around the world. There's also a flight tracking program. Actually, we found out about this by one of our team members that came across his purview. But I just want to read. This is from the government of the UK, and it's called the Information Gathering Powers in the Public Authorities Bill. And how will it work? For example, DWP may compel information from airlines to gain further information about someone's travel history as part of investigations into suspected abroad fraud. So they're trying to say, like, oh, if you're doing any sort of like corporate fraud and claiming things you shouldn't be. The bill will create a single approach to gathering information from all information holders unless that type of information is exempted, and allow for requests and responses to be received digitally. Now, the word exempted, we're going to come back to, because we're going to talk about that in a second too, as it pertains to a lot of this stuff. The bill also allows for these powers to be extended to any payment, credit, or grant administered and investigated by the DWP where fraud is suspected. DWP's fraud investigators must only compel information that is relevant to the investigation from third parties who might reasonably be expected to hold the information. When a third-party information holder does not have the information requested, they should explain this and that they cannot comply with the information notice in their response. To compel this information, DWP's fraud investigators must be authorized officers who, as in the case now, have been trained and accredited to investigate criminal matters. It will create a single legal framework to compel information from all information holders when a request is sent to ensure consistency in response amongst all information holders. Now, what does this mean in terms of flight information, flight logs, travel information, panopticon of who's been going where in a single location? They're saying it's to combat fraud, but I think myself and Nathan and a lot of people that are watching the show are probably piecing together that this is going to play into your personal carbon credit allowance. Hey, you've flown and you've traveled how many miles this year? Ooh, you're not allowed to buy a plane ticket, and we're going to base that as it's linked to your digital ID. You're going to buy a plane ticket. You have to present your digital ID. It's all a singular system. And even furthermore, with the flight allowances and things like that, that'll be linked, like in China, as referenced to social credit scores. Now, this is not just the UK. Stunningly, Switzerland voted yes, marginally, but still, that's just over half the population voted yes for a digital ID as well, the EID. So there's 50% of the population forcing the other 50% into, again, this hellish panopticon. And I do want to show that clip of the guy being sentenced, because the video is pretty wild and pretty telling about where we're headed. And then we'll discuss who might be exempt from all these rules, especially in the first mention of the private communications being scanned. And then we'll talk about some possible solutions. Okay, so let's take a look at this video. First of all, already, I recognize that this is the norm in the UK, but these little wigs that they wear are interesting to me. Let's listen to this. This is Black Mirror.
To a post questioning why, you wrote, "Because they're over here, given life of Riley, off the tax us hard-working people earn, when it could be put to better use. Come over here, with no work visa, no trade to their name, and sit down and doss, and then there's more people being put out homeless each year. They get top band priority on housing." You went on to say that you did not want your money going to immigrants who, quote, "rape our kids and get priority," end quote. Although you said that you had no intention of carrying out any act of violence, there can be no doubt that you were inciting others to do so. Otherwise, why post the comment? You expressed remorse, but by that time it was too late. For the offence of publishing written material in order to stir up racial hatred, there are sentencing guidelines which I must and will follow. The maximum sentence is 7 years imprisonment. In my judgment, this comes close to harm category 1. However, for the purposes of this sentence, I will treat you as falling into category 2, since there was no direct encouragement towards activity which threatens or endangers life. However, you fall towards the top of category 2. For a category 2A offence, the starting point is 2 years imprisonment with a range between 1 and 4 years custody. In mitigation, I take into account your plea of guilty, for which you will receive full credit of 1/3, following your earlier admission.
So I'll stop it there. But the long and the short of it is, this guy basically gets 2 years for the post that you had read to you, and it was a comment on a post for having distaste for the immigration system and the policy around it. You know, that when he's talking about, you know, the instances of, you know, sexual abuse, those are definitely elevated across Europe. So he's pointing out like, hey, like, listen, like maybe, you know, we should be more stringent on, you know, making sure that if somebody's coming to the UK, it's somebody that's safe, a safe, law-abiding citizen kind of thing. Like that's not going to harm others. And yeah, he's literally going to prison for that. And the spooky thing about this video is something about this guy's demeanor as he's handing down the sentence is just so calm and matter of fact that like as he's talking about it and saying there can be no question that you were trying to incite people to be violent. Based on what he read there, I definitely can absolutely question that. And so, I mean, this scares the hell out of me, because how often do Bitcoiners jump on and say, like, you know, burn down fiat? Like that alone, you know, imagine this guy reading a sentencing by saying burn down fiat, end the fiat system, and end the traditional banking system, you know, F banks, you know, Bitcoin only, all that kind of stuff. And this person saying you are calling to an end of our way of life. You are calling for the destruction of our system. I mean, like, is it that far out that this a similar thing could happen if, especially with the trajectory that we're on when it comes to how bad the fiat system is. And it just seems to be imploding on itself, and your average citizen is worse and worse off, and people are going to get angry. They're going to start pointing fingers, and they're going to probably point fingers to the people who have figured out how to escape that system because they're doing okay. And I would not be surprised to see videos like this of a similar looking person handing down harsh sentences for simply saying, fiat is garbage. Everybody exit the system. Everybody come to Bitcoin. Now, Nathan, some people, of course, will be exempt from this type of scrutiny.
Of course.
Some people won't have, won't have this panopticon chat control applied to them. Some people will not have their flights tracked. I'm wondering if you could tell me who might be exempt from these types of things.
Well, you'll be completely surprised to find out it's Pisces. People with the sign Pisces are the ones that are exempt. Now, it's as obvious as could possibly be. If you're government, if you're military, if you're police, you are, of course, exempt from all of this. No. That was just for the plebs. It would never once apply to you, which just goes to show you that, once again, if you're a criminal, the best place to hide is inside government. That's exactly where you're welcomed and amongst your peers. So, of course, none of these rules apply to them. It is just to us, which I got to say, man, like, we're on YouTube. We got to be good here. We got to be nice. We got to be polite in these things too. Watching that video, I have emotions that would be in line with wanting to perhaps, encourage violence. I think my emotional instinct is very much so in the calling for violence. Like these people are monsters. The fact that you could do that to your fellow man and have no humanity and think that you're in such a moral high ground and superior position. Why? Because you got a stupid fucking wig on and you're sitting in a higher chair. Like, the amount of rage that I have for these people, the amount of, I'm not saying bloodlust, but hypothetically bloodlust is just, it's over the top. I mean, for you, I understand it's like different stages of grief. You feel the sadness, you feel the worry. I totally get that. For me, I'm still very much in the pissed off camp. And I can't believe that people like we're in Canada. It's part of the Commonwealth. We're not that far off. One, UK is making Canada look great. That's retarded. I'm not sure how you're doing that, guys, but you're going way too far off the rails if Canada is looking like the safer place to be. But I know I'm not alone. That I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this right now that actually pisses me off, that you would take a person, strip them of their family, their job, their resources, everything that they have, and lock them in a cage like an animal. Why? Because they have an opinion that you don't like? Go fuck yourself. Sorry for the language. This one really fires me up.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad. And again, like, what was the wording he said? For the offense of publishing written content, that should be the end of any sort of repercussion right there.
Yep.
Publishing written content. That it's like, oh, okay, you wrote something. I see. Okay, all right, you can go home. That's fine.
This whole setup is like a KGB wet dream. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. They're going to go through your flights. They're going to go through your cell phones. They're going to go through your chats. They're going to go through all your images. And by the way, if you speak out against them in any sort of way, the regime is going to crack down on you like the CCP. Yeah. I don't know how we got here this fast, but for the love of God. And what was it? It was, which country voted for like 51%? That
was Switzerland.
Switzerland. For the love of God, people. Like, I don't know how we wake other people up to this. I don't want to see it get, it already feels like it's boiling. How much worse does it have to get for anyone to go and be like, maybe this whole like government for the people, from the people sort of thing isn't really working out. These people don't represent you. These people hate you. They hate you.
Yeah. It's bad. So, I mean, we need to talk about solutions. We need to talk about the tools that are at our fingertips to begin to, have an air of privacy, because you're going to need it, and you're going to need to be censorship resistant as well. And so first, let's go down the route of just messaging and communicating. One of the most widely and most accessible encrypted messaging apps right now, I would say, would be Signal. It's probably the simplest for people to pick up. It used to require a phone number. Now I believe it doesn't at all, which is definitely a positive. And it's end-to-end encrypted chat by default, which is great, as long as the other person is also using Signal. So that's important.
And if I may too, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Signal where like the Trump leaks came out and everybody got really pissed off because there was a guy in the group chat that wasn't supposed to be in the group chat?
Yeah.
That just lets you know that At least Trump's team thinks it's still pretty good and safe and there's no backdoor there. So it's probably one of the better choices.
Yeah, just don't let
reporters in the room.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there are other solutions that maybe are lesser known amongst some of the people watching here. So I did do a video on SimpleX Chat. And what this allows you to do is, you can just download it and use it and use their servers and everything's end-to-end encrypted and all of that. But you can also self-host. So you can have a device on your shelf, like a small computer that will host your chat history and relay messages and do all of that and store it locally. So it's not even on a server and it's still end-to-end encrypted. So you have options there when it comes to this. Furthermore, you've got Matrix. Now, this is not something that I have used too much myself, except for I didn't even realize you told me before the show that this is the back end for the chat for the Fedi app for Fediments. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. Fedi app is using Matrix for communication to leave in the background. It's also using Nostr, I believe, for ID as well, too. So it's combining like Nostr, Matrix, and Bitcoin all together.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, another kind of peer-to-peer privacy-centric chat app would be something like Keat. And this also has like video calls, audio calls, all that kind of stuff, group chats. So yeah, no middlemen, no metadata, no surveillance, just direct encrypted chats with people you trust. And Keat is pretty cool. It's come a long way since it first came out. I believe they also have a built-in Bitcoin wallet, if I'm not mistaken, or they're working towards that. It's been a little while because I use a variety of different tools, but I always try and peek back in. That's some of the stuff that I've seen.
If they get a built-in wallet, looks like we had another tutorial to add to the list.
Yes, 100%. Yes. Now, what about just general browsing security? So like using a VPN is an important thing that you might want to take a look at. I quite like Mulvad. They're pretty badass. No usernames. So you can sign up for an account. You can pay with Bitcoin, like you can pay with Lightning. And it just gives you a username, and that's your login code for everywhere. And then you just use that. If you ever lose it, then you can just get a new account. It's like $5 a month, pretty cheap. And then it basically encrypts your browsing data and hides everything. It's pretty slick. And if you need to be in a different jurisdiction when you're on the web, you can do that with Mulvad, which is super convenient. Now, we were talking about operating systems on phones. You know, Apple's got a lock on it. If they get squeezed, they'll do whatever. Android, that was your exit. Not so much anymore. They're talking about locking it all down. You can only download apps, approved apps, and they need IDs and like verification from every person that submits an app to the App Store. So you're thinking, okay, well, on Android, I can sideload an application. I can download it from the internet and install it myself. That is going to apply too. You won't be able to install sideloaded apps unless it's from a verified developer. And so what happens when there's regulations in and around end-to-end encrypted apps? Crap. Well, if they're not allowed on the App Store and they're not an approved developer, how do you get it on your phone? And I would say the answer to that is to use a different operating system. So I did make a video on how to install Graphene OS on a mobile device. It does, ironically, it does have to be a Google Pixel. But you can de-Google the phone and install alternative operating systems. So Graphene OS is one of these, and you can make it as private as you like, and you can install whatever the hell you want on it. So, if you're curious, go check it out. Side note, I do have a video on SimpleX and on Mulvad, so check them out. And I did mention also self-hosting your data when it came to SimpleX, but you can self-host a lot of different things. I use Start9 as a home, not just a Bitcoin node, but a personal server. And so you can host things like SimpleX Chat. You can also host your files and passwords and photos and all that kind of stuff on your own server and not rely on somebody else, which is great. I think we also need to talk a little bit about just in general for Bitcoin, because, Bitcoiners are going to be in the crosshairs at some point. People are going to be angry and they're going to be pointing fingers, and we're leaning closer and closer into these surveillance states. So what are some do's and don'ts? I'd say obviously don't be putting Bitcoin addresses in public forums that links those addresses to you. One of the lowest hanging fruit is obtaining your Bitcoin in a non-KYC or a private fashion. So peer-to-peer, something like HODLHODL. If you're in Canada, Bitcoin Well does have a non-KYC option with their cash voucher system as well. But obtaining it even like RoboSats and Bisq, and there's a variety of other ways, or at the local meetup with cash. That's great. If you can obtain Bitcoin privately, you're already leaps and bounds ahead. But once you do have Bitcoin, it's worth looking into using stuff like CoinJoin. I do have a video, obviously, on HODLHODL I showed before, but on Wasabi Wallet as well. And yes, Samurai Wallet was shut down, but we've seen a fork of that with something called Ashigaru, and you can self-host it again on your Start9 if you saw fit. So there's a variety of tools that can help you with privacy, even using something like AQUA and pegging into the Liquid network and utilizing that, sending via Lightning, all that kind of stuff. It gives you better privacy than just straight on-chain Bitcoin. So there's a variety of things that you can do and use that will, greatly improve the privacy that you have online. And it's not just Bitcoin, but it's just general communications as well. Nathan, I'm curious if you have anything else that you'd like to tag in there, anything that I missed?
Yeah, maybe get a 3D printer. I feel like that might be useful at some point.
I heard there's cool files you can download to print a lot of things.
There are. I think the only thing I'd want to add is, again, don't feel like you have to do everything all at once here too, right? Like, I know especially there's a lot of newcomers coming to the channel. If this feels like drinking from a fire hose, that you're being kind of overwhelmed with information, I totally get it. We want to lay everything out, let you know the options. Just pick one and learn it. Just pick one and learn. Maybe do one per month, right? Just keep knocking them off the list. The more privacy tools, whether it's chat, whether it's using Liquid and Lightning, whether it's using CoinJoin, the more you have getting that VPN set up, the more you have, the better protection you have, and the more prepared you'll be for what might come, right? Fingers crossed things don't get worse, but it's not where my bet is. And to your point, I mean, I fully 100% believe that Bitcoin is going well above $1 million. The flip side of that coin is that if Bitcoin is going to do what we think it's going to do, there's going to be a lot of resentment and blame towards us for what it did. They're going to think that it's the reason that the fiat system is collapsing, not because it was poisoned and doomed to begin with.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's best that people at least are familiar with the tools, know how to use them now, because you don't want to be scrambling when you really, really need them. You're going to want to be familiar.
What you could do, even if you don't want to use them just yet, you could download them now and just have them ready and not even use them. And you could go and even just download the tutorial video for that too. And then you've got those on hand. If something happened, you've got the tutorial video, you've got the file, you're good.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I mean, we say it again and again here on the channel, learn the tools. It is super important. We do have a page here. It's Bitcoiner Zero to Hero. It'll cover a bunch of different things just in your Bitcoin journey. I know we have a lot of new people that come here regularly. If you don't know Bitcoin self-custody, some of the tools that are available to you, please do check it out. Scan the QR code on the screen here, or go to btcsessions.ca/learn, and you'll find a lot of good starter material all the way up to some advanced stuff too. And then just keep diving down the rabbit hole. Search for some of the videos we mentioned here today too. And, you can level up gradually over time, but start. It's very, very important. And with that, on the other side, I know we did all doom and gloom to start here, but it's important. It's important that people know what's up. But it's October, my friend. And it's been a good one so far. We're only 2 days in, and my demeanor is up. I feel nice and cheery. And we've seen some positive price action. We're going to chat a little bit. We're going to go degen, and we're going to chat price action. I think we're entitled. We've had a lot of sideways boringness over the summer, and it's nice to see some fall October action. And there was something very unique that happened just in September that hasn't happened historically a lot in Bitcoin. And there's an indicator of it is an indicator of where we may go for the remainder of the year. So we'll chat about that and a whole bunch of other things. There's also somebody that has got to be just cringing because his company, despite him hating Bitcoin, his company is calling for much higher Bitcoin prices. So we're going to chat about all of that on the other side of the hop here. We're going to take a quick break, but thank you guys for being here. Make sure you drop a like on the video if you're enjoying the conversation. We'll be back in just 1 minute. Bitcoin Well is the best place to be buying and selling Bitcoin in Canada and the US. And now with Bitcoin Well Infinite, it's also the best place to be making large buys at their OTC desk of over $50,000. Their white glove service gives you fast transactions, no slippage, and the lowest fees. You can scan the QR code on the screen or simply head to bitcoinwell.com/BTC Sessions to sign up today. And you can share your own personalized referral link to earn commissions.
If you've been around Bitcoin for more than a minute, you've definitely seen something made by CryptoCloaks. Since 2017, they've been the go-to for badass 3D printed Bitcoin gear, from custom home mining rigs to sleek hardware wallet mounts that make your setup look pro. I've been stacking Cloaks gear for years, and most recently I grabbed their Gamma case for my miner. Let me tell you, it turns some heads. You can customize everything, and of course, the legendary Bitcoin grenade, yeah, that's them. Hit the link in the show notes or scan the QR code to visit CryptoCloaks.com and stack your own custom Cloaks gear today.
DEBIFI is the best and easiest way to borrow against your Bitcoin in a non-custodial way. Funds are held in a multisig escrow where you hold a key, and the platform allows for excellent hardware like the Cold Card Mark IV and the Q. You have access to flexible conditions, the best rates, and institutional grade liquidity. If you're looking to make use of your capital, don't sell your Bitcoin, borrow against it. You can head over to debify.com to check them out, or simply scan the QR code on the screen. All right, we are back in. Now, before we get into our October excitement and what's been going on, I did want to say, everybody that's here, I wanted to let you guys know only 60% of you guys are actually subscribed to this channel. So if you have not done that already, please do. It helps a ton. Next week, Nathan is dropping a hell of a breakdown. Who are you having? Oh, you're muted.
If I unmute, I got Rich Diaz from the Looney Hour coming and giving us a great macro breakdown, really piecing apart US versus Canada. Why are we seeing this tale of two economies?
Nice. That's going to be a good one. He's awesome. He's a great speaker. He's got a lot of really good stuff to say. I've got an awesome new tutorial on the updated, we'll call it self-custody version of Wallet of Satoshi. And there's some nuance there, so you got to pay attention. Stick around to the end of that one because there's a lot in it. Also, why are we bullish? Now, I'm going to be on the road, but I'm going to have a special interview with somebody that I'm sure people will be excited about. Lynn Alden is going to be coming on the show. So she's going to be dropping in and saying a hello. And Nathan, if I'm not mistaken, you and Gary are going to be hitting the news next week. Is that right?
I believe so. It's in the calendar. We'll make sure to get it.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited. It's a good time. And everybody, again, if you haven't subscribed already, please do. But let's chat October. Let's do it. Peek at what's going on. I mean, we're above 120K per coin, which feels pretty nice, especially like when a week ago we were at like 109, and I was, some people were feeling a little gloomy about that. Didn't feel so nice. So it's nice to see things kind of flip back. October wasted no time. Day one, up. Day two, up quite a bit. And so, in the past week, we're up about 10%. We're up about 10K. Feels good.
10K in a week. That's fine. That's okay. A little slow for my liking, but I can live with 10K in a week. That's okay.
Yeah, not bad at all. Now, even, October is a full-on meme now. We even have CNBC posting and talking about Bitcoin could see strong gains as October begins, which is hilarious to see CNBC using the term October. I don't know. We're living in a simulation here. But I think what we need to do first before we get into October, we need to pour one out for our fallen brethren well, maybe not brethren, but the fallen ones, the ones who doubted. And so we're just going to do a little throwback to Daniel Sloss calling Bitcoin beanie baby for tech bros when it was 6.5K. Let's take a listen.
Should double that quickly is the value of Bitcoin. Just kidding. That was a garbage investment and you're an idiot. Bitcoin is just beanie babies for tech bros. Look, man, every person I went to high school with was like, yo, Bitcoin is going to change your life. BTC, get on it right now. And I'm like, Tommy Wilson, you work at Office Max. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, by the way, hey, internet comments, it's trading at 6.5K. Go fuck yourself. Look,
hey, Daniel
anything that should double that quick.
It's trading at 120K. Go fuck yourself.
I don't think Tommy Wilson is working at Office Max anymore, by the way, either. He's probably fucking your wife. Sorry, bad language.
Tommy Wilson is on a yacht somewhere right now. Oh, man.
It's always nice to take a victory lap.
Yeah, it's always good. Oh, Daniel. Too bad for you. Anyways, speaking of people that might be a little bit salty right now, Jamie Dimon, we know that he hates Bitcoin, but despite his deep hatred of Bitcoin, and at one point saying that he would fire anybody in his office that owned it, JP Morgan, who he's CEO of, now predicts $165,000 Bitcoin price by year end. The analysts over at JP Morgan see Bitcoin as $46,000 undervalued compared to gold. And again, they're talking about the ETF inflows and all that. It reflects Bitcoin's increased appeal amid gold's recent rally. So kind of hearkening to the thing that we've seen historically where gold will go for a rip and then Bitcoin will follow faster and harder afterwards. And we might be seeing the first inklings of that now. Now, this is Joe Consorti, friend of the show, awesome dude. Says JP Morgan says Bitcoin undervalued relative to gold, implying a 42% rise in Bitcoin for a fair value of 165K. And this shows kind of the gold versus Bitcoin charts. And again, this is gold with a 100-day lead and just kind of adjusting for that and overlaying the charts. And this is typically what happens. More volatility in Bitcoin, but the upswings following similarly. Now, Joe had a nice little breakdown the other day on kind of what's going on regards to the government shutdown and all of that. I did just want to play a little clip of it. It is a few minutes long. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but Joe's an absolute legend. So let's just take a listen to a little bit of what he had to say.
Welcome to October. So September is historically Bitcoin's worst month. Since 2013, it has averaged negative returns. Yet this September, Bitcoin defied history, rising 6.25%, just like it did last year. And as if to set the tone, October, which is the start of Q4, typically Bitcoin's strongest quarter, October being the second best month historically for Bitcoin, has wasted no time at all. On day one to this point, Bitcoin has risen about 3%. Ironically, this is on the same day that the US government shut down after failing to agree on a spending package. Now, the broader macro backdrop feels very familiar. 1 year ago, Bitcoin was coiled in a long period of consolidation, and just as central banks around the world shifted toward easier monetary policy, Bitcoin began climbing. It's the exact same pattern that we see today. So the Federal Reserve has officially begun its rate cutting cycle. We all know this. 2 weeks ago, the Fed cut by 25 basis points, and markets are pricing in 100 basis points of total cuts between now and next year. That conviction only strengthened after today's jobs data. ADP employment showed a 32,000 job loss for September compared to expectations of a 51,000 job gain. Even worse, August numbers were revised down from a 54,000 job gain to negative 3,000 jobs. A weakening labor market is reinforcing the Fed's decision to cut rates, sending yields lower and pushing investors back out on the risk curve. Gold has already broken out as well. It broke out earlier in the summer, and now it looks like it's Bitcoin's turn. So just
now, I do want to now show you a little bit of history in regards to what happened uniquely in September. That doesn't happen very often. September, again, Joe said, historically Bitcoin's worst month. It's not very often that Bitcoin ends on an upturn within September, but we were up I can't remember what he said, 6 point something percent. But nonetheless, when Bitcoin has had a good September, that typically means that the rest of the year has looked really, really good. And so you can see that 2015, these 2015, 16, 23, and 24 were all years where we had a green September. And what that meant was, on average, looking at the different years over the course of the whole quarter, October, November, December, 2015 with a green September gave us a 66% rise. 2016 gave us a 50%. 2023 gave us a 49%, 49.5%, and 2024 gave us a 45%. If you average them out, it's somewhere in the 50% range, just over 50 something percent, which would put us in the range of $170,000 for the end of the year if history were to repeat itself. So that's pretty interesting. And furthermore, there's I love the Rational Root. He has always got this super interesting charts. I like his Bitcoin spiral, but he basically has shown where Bitcoin has performed the best, and it's typically in quarter four of the end of a 4-year cycle. And so right now we're just getting into quarter four of typically what would be the best performance historically of Bitcoin. And I mean, it's time to strap in. We'll see what happens. So my question to you, Nathan, is, do you think we're going to see a repeat of kind of what we've seen historically? Like, are we gonna have some nice rips for the next few months here? And does the cycle theory hold up? Because there's a lot of things that have been very different this cycle. Pre-halving, all-time high, never happened before. Even the bear market before that broke below the previous all-time high. It's been a pretty steady, just like grind up. There's not been a lot of large pullbacks, not anywhere near a regular cycle.
Oh yeah.
So it feels very different. What do you think?
You're right. We had the pre-halving new all-time high. We had the below previous all-time high during the bear market. The ETFs, love them or hate them, that's a change. That's a new player in the space. That is a big buyer and much slower to move. I am definitely coming around to, I still think cycles will be there. Perhaps they're muted more of it. Maybe if we do have that kind of remember the post gold ETF, it's basically just up and to the right on kind of a slow grind for a while. We might be in that sort of phase. I mean, my conversation with VJ Boy Party, he thinks 5 years, like we might be just up and to the right, slow stair stepping up for the next 5 years. And I do see the argument, and to the point of, I do think cycles, just because of the human psychology, will at least somewhat still come into play. We haven't had these repeated 30% drawdowns, right? Which I'm almost looking for that volatility, and it hasn't occurred yet. I'm still not seeing a lot of retail interest, even just looking at, Google search information, trends, as well as just general conversations. I don't think retail can move the price. However, I think they're a good indication of the sentiment at the moment, and big players will probably be playing those swings and that momentum as well. So even though retail might actually not be the one pushing it, they can give you an idea of kind of where we are and which way the momentum's going. But if I were to take do I think that we're going to have a wonderful and exciting fall, maybe spring as well too? I absolutely do. And the reason being is, try to give me the flip side. Give me the bearish case. What now is going to cause the Bitcoin price to tank? Give me the theory of how the Bitcoin price tanks. And I can't find one outside of a major black swan, a monetary credit event, a major war outbreaking, and kind of just in everything correlation to one crashing. I don't see a bearish case for Bitcoin. I was also just having a wonderful conversation with a billionaire who is looking to make more plays similar to Saylor and get into this space as well too. There are large institutions that are setting up shop. It takes time. They're coming here. They're going to be building out. They're going to be offering more products and services. We have other big money players entering the space. I could see boring. I could see boring up and to the right, but someone please, I can't make the bearish case for you.
Yeah. And I see a couple things in the chat, and we talk about presuppositions and assumptions being broken, right? And a couple of those, one was the halving is the cause and the driving factor for price action. The other is the idea of diminishing returns. For me, if those two things were to break this cycle, that would be massive. And even moderately, right? Like if this cycle the upside was just like a few percent higher than last cycle, that would be super interesting to me. The 4-year cycle, if that were to extend out and elongate, that would be wild. Like if we saw our all-time high happen later in 2026, that would be very, very interesting to me. And I think, again, somebody said that global M2 growth now matters more than the block reward. I would say yes. I would say that the block reward matters less and less. And I think M2 growth matters more than block reward for 2 reasons. One, because just nominally the dollars are going to buy less, so Bitcoin is going to be worth more dollars. So that's a major factor. But also as M2 grows and people get how bad fiat is, more and more people get it, including the people who are tasked, who their number one job is preserving purchasing power and protecting capital. And we've seen a lot of those people coming into Bitcoin as of late. And what do you think is going to happen as M2 grows even more and people have even more to point to in terms of why Bitcoin? Well, more and more people are going to get it. And I think that is the driving factor. I think how many people whose job it is to protect capital, including the average person, including, you know, people with families that just want to save for retirement, how many of those people are beginning to understand? Because the halving doesn't mean nearly as much anymore. 95% of all Bitcoin have been mined. Our inflation rate, or the creation of new coins coming in, is negligible. And cutting that in half is not as nearly as much as a driving factor for price. But what is people understanding how important and scarce Bitcoin is and buying it and holding on to it and using it. So I think that makes it more unpredictable, but I think that throws diminishing returns out the window too, because there's a whole lot of the world left to allocate in any meaningful way to Bitcoin. And once they figure out that they not only want to, but need to, it's like 90 something percent of the world. Like when they say, oh, there's this many people that own Bitcoin. Yeah, but how much? Like, yeah, there's certain people that own a lot, but the average person, like they'll count somebody who bought like $5 of Bitcoin in a Coinbase account and got it for free because they signed up, right? That doesn't count to me. What counts to me is somebody who's like, fiat is trash. I need my savings in Bitcoin. It is my savings vehicle, or it's my currency, or it's my treasury. Those are the people that matter. And those people are growing in numbers.
Agreed. I'm going to throw it out there just because I want to put it there. I'm going to call it now. I'm going to say 219 by end of year, big 219. And the reason being is I don't want Max Kaiser to be right and finally hit that 220 number, because I feel like he would be absolutely insufferable. So that would be the most interesting thing to me, is 219, and then maybe we take a break.
219, that's great. Well, I wouldn't be upset by 219. I would not be sad. Awesome. Well, we're going to do one more little breather here. On the other side of it, on the other side of the break, there is a really, really cool update to the cold card. So any of you that have been sticking around the channel, have watched a bunch of my stuff, and are really curious and interested in the tools, including making your Bitcoin super self-sovereign and protecting it really well, this latest update is awesome. I can't wait to play with it. I played with an iteration of it, but this is updated one is super slick. So we'll be back in just a minute. If you're enjoying the show, drop a like on the video. And if you have not already, make sure you subscribe. We'll see you guys in just a second. Looking for a simple and secure way to manage your Bitcoin on mobile? AQUA Wallet has you covered. It's user-friendly and puts you in full control of your Bitcoin with secure self-custody. AQUA also supports Lightning and Liquid Network, making fast, cheap Bitcoin payments and asset transfers easier than ever. Plus, it even supports stablecoins, giving you ultimate flexibility. Built on open source code, AQUA is transparent, trustworthy, and perfect for beginner and pros alike. Ready to upgrade your Bitcoin experience? Click the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen now to download AQUA Wallet today. Securing your Bitcoin doesn't have to be complicated or invasive. With NUNCHUK's HONEYBADGER plan, You get state-of-the-art multisig with built-in inheritance planning and no KYC required. NUNCHUK is trusted by users to secure billions of dollars in Bitcoin. The HONEYBADGER plan offers 204 assisted multisig, guiding you step-by-step on mobile or desktop. It works seamlessly with hardware wallets like TapSigner, ColdCard, Jade, and plenty of others, so you're always in control. Plus, with non-KYC inheritance planning, you can ensure your Bitcoin goes to your loved ones. No private info needed. Take control of your Bitcoin today. Click the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen to check out the HONEYBADGER plan. CoinKite has been in the game for years, creating hands down the best and most secure hardware when it comes to securing your Bitcoin. The Coldcard Q is an absolute powerhouse and my daily driver, and it's ideal for newcomers and advanced users alike. The TapSigner gives you a low-cost, user-friendly option for those just getting started or for convenience when traveling. You can head to coinkite.com and use code BTC Sessions for discounts, or simply scan the QR code on the screen to get started right away. All right, we are back in. Let's chat ColdCard.
Yes.
Again, God, I love the ColdCard. There's so many cool things. It's so fancy. It's so beautiful. I like your red one.
I'm gonna get out of focus there. There you go.
There we go. Looks nice, man. I need to collect some more colors. Order incoming. Rodolfo.
It's coming.
Yeah, let's I'm gonna pull up the screen here, but latest firmware for ColdCard. They have something called the basically spending policies. And what this allows you to do is set conditions on when you are allowed to spend your Bitcoin within the ColdCard. So maybe you want to limit how large of a transaction you can do. Maybe you want to limit how frequently you can do a transaction. Or maybe you want a whitelist of addresses and you can only send to those. And you would set the conditions, and your ColdCard would not allow you to spend outside of those. Now, I did do a video on a similar setup to this, and it was kind of like a multi-sig type setup thing where there was a key there's a secondary key derived within the ColdCard. It was pretty funky. Anyways, worth checking out. But they've even allowed for two-factor authentication. So you can actually pair your ColdCard to something like Google Authenticator or Authy or whatever 2FA you want. And then you can actually approve it. So you would not only require your ColdCard and the PIN, but your phone and the two-factor authenticator and just type it in, and then off you go. You scan the QR code as it shows on the screen there, and that gives you the credentials to be able to approve and sign a transaction. So it's just like the levels and layers of security that you can have on your ColdCard. I've not seen anything close to this degree of functionality out of anything. Like it's just, there's so much. I mean, Nathan, what do you think about this feature?
Well, actually, my first thought there is, I wonder if those are D's hands. I bet you those are D's hands.
Probably.
The second thing that I was wondering thinking about is also, like, I have a list of requirements for hardware devices that I'm comfortable recommending. And one of them necessary requirements is Bitcoin only. And not only from like a security standpoint, it's a smaller footprint in terms of software, but think about their ColdCard is only focused on Bitcoin. That's all they're focused on. And the amount of new tools and features that I've got on the device without having to buy a new one, it's just firmware updates, has been absolutely phenomenal. So I just have a huge appreciation that I'm getting so much more out of a device that I already liked because they keep adding cool shit to it on the software side.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, if you do have a ColdCard and you haven't dove into some of the advanced features, go back and check it out. I've got a full playlist just on ColdCard and all of the advanced stuff. I just keep on making videos. It's probably, it's the device I can keep on making videos on forever because I can never get everything covered. There's just so much versatility from it.
I'll tell you one of my favorites too, for anyone who's got their ColdCard and it hasn't been trying everything out there. Even just the fact you can hit that scan any QR code button and scan a receive address and verify it's one of yours before actually receiving Bitcoin. Super helpful. It takes 30 seconds. It's just absolutely wonderful. Just want to slip that in.
100%. My favorite comment down below is the Bernie Sanders, I am once again asking you to open the advanced menu. most awesome features on the ColdCard are under the advanced menu. and Christoph Atlas. Excellent. And that earns you a follow, my
Please
friend.
follow that guy.
That's a great meme. Awesome. A couple other things that came across my purview. Jack Dorsey tweeting out he's a fan of LNVPN, and what this is a website you can get VPNs and eSIMs for Bitcoin. You don't need any account, any app, no KYC. Instant, anonymous VPN and eSIM services. You can pay with Lightning, of course. You can get eSIMs for 99 cents, VPNs for $2.50 a month, all of that. Although I will say in the comments down below, somebody said Mulvad has been more reliable from my experience. And Jack said, I meant for eSIM. I use Mulvad for VPN. So it seems a lot of Bitcoiners are fans of Mulvad, but for eSIMs, LNVPN, not a bad website to check out. Moving on here, I did want to do a little congratulations to our friends over at Bitcoin Well. They just bought a whole bunch of Bitcoin and put it in their treasury. Difference being that they also have a functioning business that earns money.
You can do that? I didn't know that you could do that.
You can do that. You can be good at something, earn money, spend less than you earn, and save in money nobody can print. And I think that's a pretty good tactic. So anyways, hats off to Bitcoin Well. On stacking those sats in your treasury. Nathan, I think this is becoming your favorite segment. This is a segment called Canada Sucks. Do you want to let us know what's going on here? I'm going to play a clip in a sec.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to the returning segment of why Canada is just absolutely terrible, we need a jingle for that one. We have a lot to talk about to get through here pretty quickly, but in this one right here, in our hometown of Calgary, Alberta, things have gotten so bad with regulations for the energy companies that they're leaving. So the biggest employers that we have here in Alberta, the nice people that pay those high taxes downtown, are shutting down shop and going elsewhere.
Laying off 20% of their workforce. Let's take a listen. Oh. My bad.
This week, Imperial Oil announced it will lay off 20% of its workforce and relocate its headquarters out of Calgary. The Stampede City gets the shaft again. This Prime Minister has the power to eliminate C-48, C-69, the emissions cap, and the industrial carbon tax, but he doesn't care about the average Canadian. He doesn't have to tell his family. He doesn't know how they will pay the mortgage or put groceries on the table. To add insult to injury, it is rumored that Imperial's headquarters is being sold off to none other than Brookfield. So not only did this Prime Minister cause this demise, he could be profiting from it. The truth comes out. This Prime Minister doesn't give a rip about Calgary, doesn't give a rip about Alberta, or for that matter, Canada. The bad news for him is that I and my Conservative colleagues still do. And we will not retreat until the promise of Canada is restored.
You know what fixes that?
Leaving Canada? We should leave Canada. Yeah.
That would have been my first choice.
Yeah. You don't fix a bad relationship, you leave.
Yeah.
Right? Abusive. Sometimes we have hard times. Abusive relationship. Get the hell out.
Yeah. In other fun news around Canada,
oh my God,
this, Nathan? This is
Parliamentary Budget Officer. He's the one in charge of looking over the budget and making sure everything's good. Guess what? It's not.
This video is bad. He sounds flustered. Let's take a listen to how he thinks the budget in Canada is going.
So my questions are these. Is this sustainable? At what point does it hit a critical point? And should Canadians be concerned?
Jump in? Yes. Still working out the kinks. With respect to, thank you for your question. To answer, I think the most important part of the question first, I think everybody should be concerned. My jokes aside, it's a really serious day, right? This is the first time in 30 years that we've tabled an economic and fiscal outlook where the fiscal anchor of the general and probably most important fiscal anchor for any government is a declining or at least stable debt to GDP ratio. And this is the first time in 30 years that I've seen one in which that ratio is going up over time. So that's definitely a cause for concern. Certainly on our end, we're hoping and certainly expecting the government as part of Budget 2025 to clearly indicate what the government plans to do to address this and potentially address this problem, because it's certainly not sustainable.
Yeah.
Budget 2025 too, Ben. Where are we in 2025?
It would seem that we only have a quarter left. Very, very confused at to why we're just waiting on the budget for the year that is 3/4 done. But here we are. Such is life. Now, we like to rip on Canada because we're here, but there's problems south of the border too, all over the planet. Larry Lepard, friend of the show, upcoming Bitcoin Boomers episodes. Keep your eyes peeled, and why to subscribe as well. He says the kids are not all right, sad, and he shared a tweet showing the share of young adults living with a parent hits levels not seen since the Great Depression. And yeah, this shows that since the late, getting into the 1920s, leading into World War II, this is the last time we've seen this amount, nearly 50%. Wow, nearly 50% of young adults living with parents. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. And then beyond that, Peter St. Ange, also going to be on the show pretty soon. And you've had the pleasure of chatting with him as well. Isn't that right, Nathan?
Sure have. That was a fantastic one of the first podcast episodes we did, one of the earlier ones.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude. I love his content. He said, if 3% inflation is the new normal, buy gold, buy Bitcoin, buy pretty much everything. Hopes and prayers if you're young and don't have a house. And he's sharing from Zero Hedge. And just like that, the new inflation target is 3%. And yeah, basically them saying, hey, 3% is fine. Like this is, we're okay with this. No more going after the good old 2%. Do you remember in Congress when they asked them, so why 2%? And I think the answer was something to the tune of, well, we've agreed upon it.
Yep.
with many more filler words in between, but we've decided.
we without telling you, we've realized that that's about as high as we can go without really causing alarm. So it's the quietest we can steal from you year after year. Yeah, of course. Now, on the it's not all bad side of things, this is interesting. Somebody said, tweeted at the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, and said, when are we getting legislation for our gold and silver, and ability to transact in hard currency? And yeah, he himself tweeted, signed, sealed, delivered. DeSantis approves law allowing gold, silver as legal tender. I wonder if one day we'll see Bitcoin on a state level there. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. Oh, absolutely. I can almost feel like he'd want to save that in his pocket for when he makes a run for the presidential nomination.
Yeah, 100%. Now we got to show this clip. It's hilarious. This is Joy Reid. I don't know, leftist talking head kind of woman. She outlines what she perceives as the dystopian hellscape that conservatives would like to have. Now, shield your ears, everyone, because it sounds horrendous. I don't know how we could possibly live in a world that sounds and works like this. But let's see what she thinks everybody wants. Hold on here. Oh, my bad.
Let's whip that back.
Yeah, let me.
There we go. Let's go.
Terrifying.
Is that if you go back before the 20th century, there were no income taxes, there were no regulations on business. You could earn as much money as you want, leave 100% of it to your children with no taxes. Right. That's the world they want back. And to get it back, they need society to change. They need people to be less modern. They need people to want fewer things. Is that if you
Oh my God, I could work hard and leave something for my family?
They want to earn as much money as they can. They want you to not have to pay taxes. That sounds horrible. How so terrifying. Please. Oh no.
I gotta look this up. What's her net worth? I gotta know how much is she lecturing me and how much is she worth? Like, that's absolutely ridiculous. They want no taxes. They just want to be able to work and voluntarily exchange with their friends and neighbors and build a community and have a beautiful life.
I like how she ends with, this is the world they want. Like, people will be like, It's so funny. Oh my God. Yeah.
Rock says $4 million, by the way. So not nearly as much as I would have thought, because her salary was $3 million. So I'm not really sure what happened there. She just blew it away. Maybe she gave it away voluntarily for taxes, or maybe Grok made a mistake.
Yeah. My guess is she's bad with money.
Yep.
Yeah, probably a bunch of that. In the comment, less modern trademark. Shout out to Carl for that one. That's great.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's wild. Anyways, yes, this is the world we want. We would like people to be able to enjoy the fruits of their labor, save without the government stealing half of everything that you do, and be able to pass on something to your family and not have, again, somebody siphon it away for no good reason. I think that would be a wonderful world.
I think that's exactly what we want. We want people to just be happy, free, and prosperous. I would like people to thank thank those that left something for them, rather than thanking the government, Big Daddy government, for taking care of them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that's a good spot to end it today. Everybody, again, please do remember, you got to learn the tools. You got to make sure that you know how to hold the fruits of your labor in a self-sovereign way, how to secure your Bitcoin, and to self-custody it. Don't leave it on the exchange. Don't just sit with an ETF. That is not good enough, especially with what we're talking about on the beginning of the show, and all of the ways that the powers that be would like to separate you from anything of value and have you basically just be a workhorse of the state. That's what they're driving towards. We're driving towards that wonderful alternative outlined by Miss Joy Reid there. Thanks for so succinctly putting that. And you can learn how to do that by learning self-custody in Bitcoin. Check out the Learn page. I'm going to play a clip for it at the end here. But with that, I guess we're out. Happy beginning of October, everyone. I'm Ben. This is Nathan. And this was your weekly session. We'll see you guys again soon. Cheers, everybody. Hey, you. Yes, you watching the Bitcoin price movements and the latest exciting news. It's awesome to stay informed, but the real power of Bitcoin comes from taking control. Don't just watch, take action. Head over to btcsessions.ca/learn for free step-by-step tutorials that guide you through every major skill you need to know, plus full video playlists for deeper dives on any topic you like. And if you're ready for the ultimate fast track, scroll to the bottom and check out bitcoinmentor.io for premium one-on-one experience with my team of Bitcoin experts to ensure you get it right the first time. Don't wait. Secure your Bitcoin future today. Hit the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen.